I'll come to this Assam-Mizoram conflict. Anyway, just keep the Sikkim aside because now we are not interested in Sikkim. We are interested in the state of Mizoram and the state of Assam. And if you observe carefully, Assam is having a border with every state. Assam is having a border with every state because the remaining state except Tripura and Manipur, they are all carved out of Assam. They were part of Assam. I'll tell the history, years and all. Except Tripura and Manipur, remaining all are formed out of Assam. And this Assam is a big brother to entire northeastern region. And it is having a border with each and every state. And the states that are having border with Myanmar is Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram. The states that are having border with Bangladesh is Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram. Okay? And the states Nagaland is having a border with Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur. Why you need to remember the surroundings of Nagaland means there is an issue because these people want territory like this. Not this territory of only Nagaland. They wanted this entire territory. Nagaland is having some insurgent problem, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam and Manipur. Tripura is again having a border with Assam and as well as Mizoram. Okay? And these are the border states with Arunachal Pradesh. Tripura is not having any border with Myanmar. And the states don't have a border with Bangladesh is Manipur, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh. Okay? Try to remember all these things. You can remember, you can just to have a look, you can remember it. Now, I'll come to this recent Assam-Mizoram conflict. And what happened recently? Tell me recently in the sense, I think 2-3 months back. Something happened in Assam and Mizoram border. Do you know what happened?
The police
officers were killed. So Assam police officers were killed by the Mizoram police officer. Why they have killed? Why they have killed? Encroaching into? So they are claiming the border area as their own area. Assamese are claiming Mizoram's land as their land. Mizoram people are claiming Assam's land as their own land. That means there is a thing happened here. Here it happened. Here it happened. Now, actually, why you need to read this Assam-Mizoram conflict? Did really Assam having a conflict with only Mizoram or is it having conflict with any other states? It is having conflict all the other states. And most of the conflict is only border area conflict. I'll come to that why only border area conflict. But you need to understand this Assam-Mizoram conflict in terms of how tribal sectarianism became the threat to national integrity. How tribal sectarianism became the threat to the national integrity. Because they are tribal. They are not like Malayali, Kerala, Malayali or Kannadigas or Tamilians. They are tribals. Their tribal identity is first priority for them. Later any other thing. That is why the tribals are again not same. They are divided among themselves. They are not single tribals. Some hundreds and hundreds of tribes are there in the northeastern India. That tribal sectarianism, the tribal identity, how it is going to affect the national integrity. Because we can understand if Myanmar is attacking India and Indian police or Indian army is fighting with Myanmar or with the China or with the Pakistan, we can understand. But what we can understand, these people are fighting for territory, that to 2 states in the northeastern India. So this has some history. Not only the history with respect to Mizoram and Assam, but this entire northeastern India is having some sort of history. The history of Northeastern is something an age-old history. Actually, earlier we call it as an Assam, and prior to that it was ruled by Ahom dynasty. And when Ahom dynasty was ruled, there is no clear-cut segregation like there is a Tripura, there is a Mizoram, there is an Nagaland, there is an Arunachal Pradesh. No, they have simply ruled. And these are all hilly areas. If you're looking into the state size, you can understand, but hardly the population is 13 lakh, 20 lakh, 35 lakh, 40 lakh. And the only highest populated state is Assam, 3 crores. 3 crores. Remaining all are below 50 lakh. Below 50 lakh. But in that, 500 tribals, a one different community. Around some 2,300 people, and another tribe. We call it as Nagas. Naga is not a single tribe. Nagas are having another 30 tribes among themselves. Hardly their population is something like around 20 lakh. So such a sectarianism is there here. And this was not clear-cut demarcated. Territorially, they were not clear-cut demarcated earlier. Now it has demarcated. When Ahom dynasty was under rule, this Tripura and Manipur, these two are princely states. These two are princely states earlier. And this Mizoram was part of Assam. Meghalaya was part of Assam. Arunachal Pradesh was part of Assam. And this Nagaland again having a different identity. Because they were not completely under the rule of Ahoms. They were not completely under the rule of Mughals. They were not completely under the rule of Britishers. They themselves declared the independence on 14th August 1947, just one day prior to the India got independence. That means some are princely states, some are tribal, some are not included with the Assam, and even the Assam ruler don't have a control over this entire territory, earlier territory, because it's a hilly region. It's a tribal people. That is what exactly the geography of this entire Northeast is. When we got independence, at that point of time, the Assam was the only state. Assam was the only state from Northeast. And this Manipur and Tripura were union territories because they then princely states and they became the union territories. In the 1963, first time the state of Nagaland was formed. In the 1963, state of Nagaland was formed. I am not getting into the history of Nagaland. Nagaland has its own history. But in the 1963, the Naga Hill district of Assam was carved out of Assam, and we made a separate state called Nagaland. We made a separate state called Nagaland in the year 1963. And in the year 1972, a major shift happened. In the year 1972, a major shift happened in the northeastern state. The Manipur and Tripura, 1972. State of Manipur and Tripura were formed. Earlier they were union territories. Now they become the states, Manipur and Tripura. They are having border with the Assam. Both the states are having the border with the Assam. I'll come to that later. You can understand why the border disputes are coming. In the 1972, again in the same 1972, the Mizo part and the Arunachal Pradesh, they both become union territories. That means earlier they have given some sort of autonomy in the Assam itself, but in the 1972, these two carved from the Assam and they made it as UTs. And these two UTs were transformed into state. In the 1975, Sikkim was formed. That is a different story. But in the 1987, this whatever the UTs, Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh, they became the full-fledged states. That is from 1963 to 1970 to 1987. And it is not simple formation of states itself. There was always a revolt. There is always some sort of attacks that are happened. Every region wanted their own uncertainty. They don't want to be under the Assam rulers. They don't want under the Assam rulers. That is why they are fought for some separate state. And initially they have given autonomy. Later they have given complete statehood. Sometimes they were under autonomous. Later it was transformed into UT. Again from UT they have transformed into state. So that is how all the states are. And this Meghalaya is 1972. And again, this Meghalaya has a different story. In the 1969, they have demanded no, because Khasi, Garo, Jaintia. These are the three these are the three tribal people who lives in Meghalaya. And they said like, no, we won't be under Assam. Then immediately we have given autonomous status. We haven't satisfied with that. They transformed it into UT. Again, UT was transformed into state. Again, if you're looking into Khasi, Garo, Jaintia, again there are some disputes are there between the Khasi, Garo and Jaintia, though they belonging to the same state. So the point is, for the northeastern people, the tribal identity is more important than the other identities, because they are tribals. They are not connected to the mainland, and till recently they are not even. And I forgot that example, but Amit Shah has a bitter experience at a tea stall when he visited a tea stall prior to 2014 in a hotel in Nagaland. It's in Nagaland or Manipur, and he asked, do you identify me? Then he said no, but he said when Amit Shah says that he is from India, I think he looks in a different way. But there was a beautiful story, I forgot it. But anyhow, people of northeastern states, they don't know India. Maybe chief ministers are there, ruling, assembly elections are going on, governments are forming, but still they are completely alienated from the Indian mainland, unfortunately. They always struggled among themselves for their own tribal identity. From their own tribal identity. It is not something like a Kashmir issue where some people wanted to join with the Pakistan, some people want to ascertain their own identity. And most of them are influenced by the Pakistani sponsored forces. But here they are not sponsored by the Myanmar. Myanmar is not such a strong country, but they always exercise their own tribal identities. First of all, their tribal culture is important for them. Even in 1927, when Simon Commission was appointed, when we have enacted 1935 Act, and at the time of India's Independence Act, some of the tribal groups said that no, we don't allow anyone supervision over my customs, my practices, my culture. This is a cultural issue, not a religious issue. They are no way attached to any religion, but some disturbances are happening in the state of Northeast because of some of the migrants came from the Bangladesh. Either they may be Hindus or either they may be Muslims, but they are only concerning that you are not belong to my tribe. So their identity is only tribal identity. And this tribal identities or this tribal sectarianism has become a threat to the national integrity now. How this Assam, it has carved out, see the remaining states carved out of the Assam, and at the same time the two princely states are also having a border with the state of Assam. Actually, prior to independence, who has drawn all these borders? The Britishers. The Britishers drawn all these borders. At that point of time, did the Britishers really expected that these are going to become the new states? No. These are the states with different districts. And at that point of time, we don't have a clear-cut segregation of districts, but some districts. And now tell me, Kerala is having so many districts. Did anyone disputed over district border? Generally don't. If you have a border dispute with Tamil Nadu, you will fight. But if there is a dispute between Trivandrum and let it be Kollam, can somebody dispute? No, it should belong, because there is no separate identity for Kollam. There is no separate identity for Trivandrum. You are all part of Kerala. You are all Malayalis. But this is not like that. These are all different tribals. These are all different tribals. But at that point of time, what you have done is, it is just a tribal district, so you have drawn the border. You have drawn the border from the hills, you have drawn the border from the mid of the forest, and you have drawn border whatever you like. Sometimes you have consulted, sometimes you have not consulted. The district borders later become the state borders. When they became the state borders, then there the dispute started. When they become the interstate border, then the dispute has started. Earlier it was the intrastate border. No one have anything because they are the tribals. No one is coming into their own area. They are doing whatever the activities they are doing. They are going for hunting, gathering, everything they are doing. But they don't know exactly that this is our territory. We should not cross this or that, because they are all part of Assam. But after suddenly the states are carved out, the borders were already drawn because maps were already there. Now suddenly the state saying like, no, you are crossing into my border. This is not your area. But immediately these tribal people are saying, no. From age old times, we are actually doing hunting and gathering in that area. They don't know where exactly the border is. That is the main problem in this northeastern India. That is the main problem. Whether it is Tripura, whether it is Mizoram, whether it is Manipur, whether it is Nagaland, whether it is Arunachal Pradesh. These are the problems. The terrain itself is hilly area and forest area, having lot of gorges and lot of mountains. And that too, they are already part of a particular state. And that too, they are tribals. They don't have an idea about all these things. And suddenly you have drawn the border at some point of time. Later, they have become the intrastate borders. Now they are creating lot of disputes. That is the main reason for this. Now, already some petitions were there in the Supreme Court with respect to Assam-Nagaland border, Assam-Arunachal Pradesh border, Assam-Meghalaya border, and now Assam-Mizoram border. That means this Assam is having a dispute with all these border areas. Now, what is so special about this now, the present Assam-Mizoram border? The Assam-Mizoram's borders, the present case is, there was an act called Bengal Frontier Act of 1873. Bengal Eastern Regulation Act, actually it is Bengal Eastern Regulation Act 1873. And you all will study about this inner line permit system. Inner line permit system. And inner line permit system was there for now all the border 4 states. That means even though you are an Indian, without permission from the state government, you are not supposed to enter into that area. And some of the states are under Schedule 5 of the Constitution. Some of the states are under Schedule 6 of the Constitution. If any state falls under Schedule 5, under Schedule 6 of the Constitution, then you are not supposed to have a residency as whatever you like. You cannot purchase the land there. You cannot purchase the land. You cannot own the property. You cannot be a citizen of or a domicile of that particular state. And at the same time, you cannot even visit that state without prior permission. That is what inner line permit says. Why you need all these things? To protect their tribal identity. Because for the tribals, their identity is first important. After that, only country and all. And they are having a very distinct culture. They want to protect that. Now, under that particular act, the Britishers were drawn a line between the Lushai Hill districts and the Assam. Because Lushai Hill district was a district as a part of Assam at that point of time. In the 1875, they have drawn a boundary here like this between Lushai Hills and Assam. And the Mizo's contention, Mizo's point is that the Mizo leaders or the Mizo tribal people were consulted at the time of drawing of this boundary. Again, in the year 1933, the Britishers were drawn and another boundary. Britishers were drawn and another boundary. What the Britishers were drawn in the 1933, that was taken by the government of India for its official records. Official records. But the problem with the 1933 border line is the difference between 1875 and 1833 is, if you follow 1875 line, if you follow 1875 line, border is something like this. No, for your understanding, I'm just drawing. That means some area is coming under the control of Mizoram. If you follow the 1933 border, some area they are losing. Now the Mijos are demanding that the border line should be based on 1875 line. The Assam is demanding that the border should be on 1933 line. Now whatever the disputes that are happened in between. Is it clear? This is exactly the issue. Now, this is exactly the issue between the Assam and Mizoram. And the similar type of disputes that Assam is having with Tripura, with Nagaland, and with Arunachal Pradesh. And you know, Nagaland's demand is something different. Nagaland demand is something different. Because these Naga hill districts, they were not controlled by the Ahom rulers or British or Mughals or Britishers. They are just attached to this and they have assisted Ahom rulers for some point of time. Even when Britishers want to occupy this particular Nagaland, they said like, no, we will provide all the assistance, whatever you want, but please protect our cultural identity. We don't want to join with anybody. That is the reason why they have announced the independence on 14th August 1947, because they don't want to be under India. But anyhow, Nehru and Indira Gandhi, they brought some different policies. But what they are saying is, the boundary line which you have drawn is not exactly the Naga, because some of the Naga people are also living here. Some of the Naga people are living here. Some of the Naga people are living here also. So my boundary should be like this. That is why they are always, and the conflict between Assam and Nagaland was much more greater than the Mizoram and Assam. In the 1995, in the year 2015, lot of attacks were happened between the police force of Assam and the police force of Nagaland. And recently there was some sort of agreement concluded between the Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. Recently, chief ministers of Assam and Meghalaya, they sat together to resolve some of the disputes. So this tribal sectarianism is always questioning the borders. But under the Constitution of India, who is having a power to really draw the boundary? Who is having the power? Who can redraw the boundaries of any state?
Parliament.
It is the Parliament of India. It is the Parliament of India can redraw the boundary of the states. But can really Parliament of India now it can it really draw the boundary now? Because we have already done a mistake by directly taking the previous maps. We haven't identified the exact sentiments of the tribal people. We are just following the borders that we have inherited from the Britishers. You haven't looked into what exactly the issue. Simply have drawn. And I'll give you one example why there was so much amount of the influx or the migration of the religious minorities between India and Pakistan at the time of partition. Do you know? Why actually, what exactly aggravated the condition at the border between India and Pakistan in 1947? The reason is the boundary. And who draw the boundary between India and Pakistan? Radcliffe. Radcliffe has drawn the boundary between India and Pakistan, and he was given hardly 2 months of time. And the moment he started drawing the boundary between India and Pakistan, he never realized that this line is going through a field, this line is going through a village. We are drawing a boundary in between a village. And that too, everyone came to know that this Radcliffe is going to draw the boundary as soon as possible. Then immediately people are having lot of apprehensions whether my part, whether it is going to India or Pakistan. Suppose a person is in Pakistan side, He is thinking like, my village may come under as a part of Pakistan. There are so many rumors, and suddenly he want to flee to India. There are some people, minority Muslims, they think like maybe my village going into India, so I cannot live here. I have to move to Pakistan. Likewise, so much of migration happened, not because that all the Hindus want to live in India, not because that all the Muslims want to live in Pakistan. Some of the people thought that their homes are in this side, maybe their fields on another side. That means that sensitivity is required before you draw the boundary. That sensitivity is required before you draw the boundary. And that too in the states like tribal belt, like where there are a lot of ethnicities and they are identifying themselves with their ethnic identity, we should have been much more clear. But now what we'll do? Can you redraw the boundary now? Can you really have such a guts to really redraw the boundary? It's very difficult. It's very difficult. And one of the major apprehensions of these tribal people is this Assam is behaving like a big brother. And who is the chief minister of Assam? Himanta Biswa Sarma. And Himanta Biswa Sarma is portrayed as is a champion of Northeast. If you want to conquer the Northeast or if you want to win the Northeast state, if you follow the ideas of Himanta Sharma, then it will be okay. Did you understand how the tribal people of the Northeast will really feel about that? They're all sensitive. They're all sensitive to that. And our India's policy completely towards the Northeast policy is such. If you're able to control one, then it's fine. And whenever there is a demand happen, and our always policy, Indira Gandhi's policy was always divide and rule. There was a Naga insurgency. So you have taken some Naga leaders from your own to your own side, and you have concluded a peace agreement in whichever way you want. And you said that, okay, Naga has signed the peace agreement. Naga has signed the peace agreement thrice. Till now, there is no peace in Nagaland. And these other states, Meghalaya and Arunachal Pradesh, everyone have signed the peace agreement. And you have seen what happening. And recently what happened you have seen in the state of Nagaland. So, though you are concluding the peace agreements, why peace is not happening? Because you are insensitive towards their own sentiments. You never recognize them. You never recognize their culture. And now it is not happening. But I think 3 to 4 years back it was happened. The moment from Northeastern person, if you find it in Delhi, then people started attacking that guy. And have you ever studied the culture of Northeast India except in UPSC? You don't know. Northeastern people don't know what is the culture of India. And Northeastern people don't have a connectivity at all. Recently, we have laying the roads and as well as the trains and even airports. So that means we are not only insensitive towards the Northeastern culture and Northeastern practices, but unfortunately, we have failed in bringing the development to the Northeastern India. That is how they are completely alienated from Indian mainland. Now we are trying to bridge to some extent. There is also a border dispute between Maharashtra and Karnataka. Do you know this? Some of the districts called Belagavi. Now Maharashtra is saying like Marathi speaking people are there. It should be belong to Maharashtra. There is a border dispute between Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. There is a border dispute between the Telangana and Maharashtra. But why they are not actually becoming such a serious like how it is happening in the Northeast? Because the Maharashtrians or the Kannadigas or the Telugu people, they are thinking like we are all part of India. After all, 2 to 3 villages, if they are with that, it is not a big difference for us. We are not identifying ourselves with our language. We are not identifying ourselves with a particular state. At some point of time, we feel like Indians. Let the Parliament of India take the decision. But let as a people, we will live together. But unfortunately, that is not coming here because they always looks like they are the Mizos. They always looks like they are the Nagas. They are always looks like they are some of the tribes or Khasi or Jainti or anything. That Indianness is not there in the Northeastern India. That is a hard reality we need to accept. Hard reality we need to accept. And as long as that feelings, if you don't inculcate into the minds of these people while protecting their own culture, you can't solve all these problems. For any problem, if there is a border problem, don't think like if I draw the clear-cut boundary, then only I can solve the problem. No, you can't resolve the boundary issues. You can't clearly draw the boundary. It's very difficult. After all, what you can do is you can take the development into the North state. You will try to assimilate those people into India and try to bring a feeling in the minds of Northeast like we are all one. Maybe we are diverse, but we are all one. That is what unity in diversity. They don't believe in unity, but you have to bring. And when it is possible, when you start caring these people, then only it is possible. And if you try to tackle the governments in Nagaland, if you try to tackle the governments in Manipur, and if you wanted your own party and you don't recognize their demands and you don't respect the aspirants of these people, do you think that they will assimilate with the India? No. For all our pretty political benefits, Congress has done, BJP is doing. Now we don't know upcoming governments whether they will do it or not. It's not something like it is only roads and railway projects and airports and whatever the development that you will do. It is also the sentiments. It is also the respects. And when you brought the CAA, immediately you said like, okay, CAA will be implemented nationwide. Do you know the impacts that is going to happen in the Naga? That means you wanted to fix the Hindus who migrated from Bangladesh, and you wanted to fix wherever they are. But what they are demanding, we don't want anybody except our own tribal people. So that means our policies are not sensitive. Maybe on the name of development, we are moving. And we are always in a hurry to conclude the peace agreements, whichever the group. If it is a group of 130 people, we are ready to sign the agreement. It's a group of 500 people, we are ready to sign the agreement. And we are saying like we are concluding the peace process with all the states. And there are groups like Bodo group, we have signed an agreement. With National Liberation Front of Tripura, we have signed an agreement. National Social Councilist of Nagaland, Nikki group, we have signed an agreement. And Karbi Anglang region, recently we have signed an agreement. You are good at signing the agreements, but what happened? And that Isaac and Muiva faction, we are able to completely remove the Khaplang, and we are with the Isaac Muiva group. They have signed a peace agreement in 2015. And your governor or interlocutor, that R.N. Ravi, now the present governor of Tamil Nadu, he has done all that mischiefs. Now the entire thing has gone. Now again you come to starting point. So the point is that sensitivity is missing. That sensitivity is missing. We may say like, okay, they are against the integrity of the country. They are not against the integrity of the country. Take it for granted. They don't want to give any territory to Myanmar. And at the same time, this type people also doing the same thing. They don't want to be with the Myanmar. They are not something like your this Pakistani sponsored terrorists who are operating in Jammu and Kashmir. No, they are only ascertaining their tribal identity. But there are some reports like some of the groups in this country are taking an assistance from the China. Through Myanmar, they are taking the assistance. But again, on the name of that, if you started suspecting everyone, it is very difficult for the Indian government. So a policy towards Northeastern India is include development, but also understanding the sensitivity of the Northeastern people. Otherwise, you cannot solve this issue. Simply by coming into the political power, you cannot resolve it. And there were agreements recently concluded. Just make a note of it because it may be useful for you. National Democratic Front of Bodoland. We have signed an agreement. Government of India signed an agreement. Bodoland. Where it is Bodoland? In Assam. In Assam. So in Assam itself, again, there are some insurgent groups. Next, National Liberation Front of Tripura. National Liberation Front of Tripura. Again, there are Tripura's groups. This we have signed in 2020. We have signed it 2019. Next, National Socialist Council of Nagaland. This NSCN has a long history. This NSCN, actually NSCN originally it was started in the year 1984 or 85. but prior to that, Naga People Council that was started in the 1930s itself. The Fizo was the leader. At that point of time, Fizo was the leader. NSCN, Nikki Group, R. I don't know what is that R. We have signed an agreement. National Socialist Council of Nagaland, Khaplang Nikki Group. Because National Socialist Council of Nagaland is a big group. In that we have a Khaplang group. In that we have a Isak and Muiva group. Again, in that Khaplang group, we are having again Nikki group, R group, and some other groups. So that you can understand how sectarian they are, how they have divided among themselves. Next, Karbi Anglang group. With Karbi, and where this Karbi? Where this Karbi? Northern part of Assam. Northern part of Assam. Northern part of Assam. Northern part of Assam. So these are some of the groups with which Government of India has signed a peace agreement, concluded a peace agreement. And some of the facts like the clashes which were happened between the Assam and Mizoram, they were earlier happened in the year 2018 to 2020, now in 2021 also. Prior to that many times, but in recent, and they are sharing a border. This border length is 164.6 kilometers. This was the border line between the Assam and Mizoram. Which one? This issue. In the northeastern region, actually we are maintaining just a status quo. We are just maintaining status quo. That means we don't want to resolve or we don't want to aggravate. And who will try to really resolve that issue? Who will really change which one is correct? Who can say whether it is 1875 border or 1933 border? If you looking into, if you follow 1875, then Assams will get some sort of discontent. If you follow 1933, then Mijos. Then how can you do it? You can only do it by making the borders irrelevant. And how can you make the borders irrelevant? When the nationalistic feeling increases, then you can make the borders irrelevant. And you all know about World War I and World War II. Where it happened, World War I and World War II? It was in the European continent. But can you really imagine that a region which fought two bitter world wars in this history of world, now today they are maintaining a zone where even they don't need a passport to cross the border of one country to another country? How come they make borders irrelevant? How come they maintaining a common currency? How come they maintain a same common Schengen area zone? How come they maintain a common security alliance? In that way, you need to think. You cannot go on digging the history. If you're getting into the history, you don't get anything. Okay, this is ours, this is yours, this is ours, this is yours. How long you will fight? Can't you make these things are irrelevant? Can't you move ahead of all these narrow things? That is how you need to think. That is how you need to. It's possible. It's possible. It has become possible between Maharashtra and Karnataka. And are they fighting every day? Until and unless some provocative statements comes from the politician for their own electoral benefits, but otherwise people of Karnataka are not having any animosity towards the people of Maharashtra just because they are owning a small area called Belagavi. And there is no something animosity between the people of Andhra Pradesh and Odisha just because some few villages are now in the control of Odisha. No. But the only thing when it comes to the solution part, as by understanding the sensitivities of the people, we need to understand their own concerns. We have to be very sensitive while dealing with. But apart from that, we need to bring the developmental aspect. We need to recognize them. We need to try to make sure that the entire Indian citizens are sensitive enough about their own culture. And ultimately, what are all the means that we have with the concurrence or with the acceptance of the people of northeastern state, make the borders irrelevant. Make the borders irrelevant. If there is a huge development happen, and do you think that this person, a business person from Mizoram, will really don't want to go to Assam to do the business? No, he will go. But unfortunately, we are not bringing that opportunities to the northeastern level. Because they are tribal, because they don't want to come out, because they are having the identity. So we are all allowing them to stay away with that their own identities. Perhaps that's the wrong thing. If you really want to solve the problem, you need to move ahead. You need to start experiment, but don't do for your pretty politics. Don't do that. But if you are really committed enough, if you are really serious enough, definitely we can do. After all, we are all belongs to one country, and we need to resolve all our internal issues in a democratic way. And that whatever the separatism or whatever that feeling that people are having, just you have to remove. Further, the process must be started with the legislative practices. When you are making a legislation, or when you are making any act, or when you are passing any rule and law, or whenever you are sanctioning something, you must be very sensitive enough. Very sensitive enough. Then only you can resolve these type of issues. Otherwise, if you go with their own identities, even after century also, you can't solve it. Is it clear?
Sir,
Is it clear?
sir, can you hear me?
And don't look it in the aspect of only Assam and Mizoram. It's an ethnics, a very ethnic identity, an ethnic sectarianism. How we can really change that ethnic sectarianism? That is what the only solution. You cannot say like, okay, we have to go with 1875 border.
Hello?
Let the Mizoram, let the Assam resolve the dispute on their own. Let the chief minister sit together. Let the finance minister redraw. Let the home minister redraw the boundary again. These are all not practical solutions. You cannot implement all these solutions. Okay, but sensitivity with all your political decisions, with all your legislative practices, with all your executive decisions, you have to take care about them. You are doing one thing, immediately you are bringing a contentious thing. That is very difficult. And you have seen what happened in the Nagaland yesterday. Just 2 minutes, I'll spend on that. There were some people, immediately there was a miscommunication, and you have killed all those people. Government is saying like, okay, I have instructed them to stop. They haven't stopped. That is why we have fired. But on the other hand, they are saying no instruction came. Simply they have killed. If such type of mistakes happens, they don't believe you. They don't believe. They are all tribal. They are all tribal. Once they lost the confidence, they don't come. And now the Nagaland is demanding that AFSPA should be removed. Now, what is your point of view? No, if AFSPA is Armed Forces Special Powers Act, if I repeal, then it is very difficult to control the insurgency. And the name of insurgency, if you start killing the innocents, you cannot win the hearts of these people. That is what happened with the Mizoram. I think you know Irom Chanu Sharmila. And you know what happened in front of an Assam rifle office, how that women were really given a naked that protest. These were all happened. So you have to be very sensitive while you are dealing with the northeastern India. You cannot protect the border like how you are protecting with the Pakistan and Chinese border. There is no problem with those people, border areas. So that is what you have to be very careful while dealing. And now border security force, now you have increased the limit to 150 kilometers, but it should be used very judiciously. Even a small mistakes can really takes back you to the 10 or 20 years. What are all efforts that you have made, then it will go in vain. That you have to be very careful. That sensitivity of the government policies and everything must be very careful. Then only you can resolve these issues. Otherwise, it is very difficult. Okay.
Hello, sir, can you hear me?
I think actually I want to discuss another topic also, but Unfortunately, I could not. We will do it in the next class. And I think you are having another class now. And if anyone is interested, try to make a small essay on this fertilizer policy and try to write the answer to that UPA question. Okay?
Amrita IAS Academy.